Hello and welcome back to another brand new movie review as we are basically at the second last movie review for the month. And because, in case you don't know, I've been doing Trilogy Month this past month, where every Monday, Wednesday, Friday I've been reviewing a particular movie in a trilogy. And as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail of this one, I am now on the second of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy that I have not seen in over 20 years, being, of course, Spider-Man 2. So, yeah, I'm recording this dangerously close to when this video is actually supposed to be posted. I'm literally recording this a week before it's actually supposed to be posted. That's how bad I've gotten in terms of upload for my schedule for uploading. Anyway, what did I think of this movie on rewatch? Obviously, it still holds up. It's everyone counts this as probably one of the best Spider-Man movies of all time. Um, and I am 50-50 on that with that statement. You see, for me, I think, especially after rewatch, I kind of prefer the first one um, more than Spider-Man 2. Now, don't get me wrong, Spider-Man 2 is amazing. It has every right to be counted as one of the best Spider-Man movies ever made. We have Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Tobey Maguire is still on point as Spider-Man, and especially with the character journey that we see him go through in this movie of, getting that quote unquote web block and giving up the mantle of Spider-Man, which there's a scene in the movie that mirrors the comics 1-to-1 of where we see Peter throwing away the Spider-Man suit in the trash can, and the way it showed the suit peeking out and Peter walking away is literally ripped straight from the comics. Now this again was another one that I have seen in the in cinema, um 20 years ago now. Jesus Christ, it has been 20 years since this came out, and oh boy, uh yeah, it still holds up. Like I said, I didn't realize that it was actually potentially setting up the croc with Dr. Connors, because I knew he was like I remember him being mentioned in passing, but I actually forgot that we do actually see Dr. Connors in this movie, especially missing the arm. So that was had the Sam Raimi movies actually got a fourth one, like was confirmed before it was cancelled and then rebooted into the Andrew Garfield movies. We potentially could have seen that, or we probably could have seen it in the third one because we know how that went with the studio interference with Sam Raimi trying to basically get the Sinister Six in with that one, with there being three main villains in that one. Um, Again, I love Alfred Molina as Dr. Otto Octavius. He is amazing. Um, and again, it wasn't until like I watched No Way Home that's when it clicked in me. He's like, oh, I completely forgot how much I love his interpretation of Doc Ock, because I grew up, on the 90s Spider-Man as well as these movies. Those have been my introduction to this character, and Spider-Man is probably my favorite superhero when I was a kid. I'm not even sure who my favorite superhero is now, but Spider-Man is definitely up there because of that childhood nostalgia there. The fight choreography again is amazing, and I do love how most of the scenes with Doc Ock with the tentacles uh, is mostly practical effects. There are some CG elements in there, but in large in part it is puppetry work, and I love that. And I love films that do practical. Like, I get it, I know it's cheaper to do CGI and all that stuff, but if a movie is usually uses some form of practical effects, that I will love. Let's see what else. The wife of actually Dr. Connors, I recognized. I was like, where do I know her from? And then of course I looked it up, and she was in. She played the love interest in Star Trek Insurrection. The not that loved of a Star Trek film. I enjoyed it. I also did my review of that last year, and the as well. Sam Raimi. He's a horror director, and we do see that in this. Not long in the beginning after the accident at Octavius' place where he accidentally kills his wife. He gets the shock because it's mentioned that with this the AI of the tentacles, that they could be with it being so sophisticated that they could take over Octavius. But he's like, he has this little neuro inhibitor in the chip in the back that prevents that from happening. But of course, once he gets electrocuted, that gets fried, and they take over, and that's what leads into the entire point of the movie. And then when we see the surgeons attempting to forcefully take that off, obviously we don't see like blood, guts, that type of horror aspects of it, but we still do see a lot of horror elements that Sam Raimi is well known for. um like I said, the dealing with the mental block that Peter goes through, that journey he goes through throughout half of this movie, I absolutely love. Has all got I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's all got tied to him trying to juggle his life as well as with Mary Jane. Because Mary Jane is in a relationship now. She's engaged and almost marries J. Jonah Jameson's son, who's an astronaut. Leaves him at the altar at the end of the film, and it's because of that, and he's falling behind in college. He doesn't have a job. Aunt May, he's dealing with the grief that that he hasn't told Aunt May that he thinks he's responsible for Uncle Ben's death 2 years prior. And then that all leads to him having that mental block, which I think happens in amazing Amazing Spider-Man franchise. I don't necessarily think it's happened in the Holland films yet. There's been some kind of mental blocks, but not to the extent of this film where he gives up the mantle of Spider-Man. And I love the scene where J. Jonah Jameson is wearing the Spider-Man outfit and just messing about. And Betty Brant and the others that work for the Daily Bugle is peeping in, and he's not witnessing it. But and then of course at the he's finally singing some praise after Spider-Man has disappeared. And then as soon as Spider-Man comes back and takes the suit, he's like, fuck that, this guy's a menace, I'll get you, Spider-Man type, back to his normal self with dealing with Spider-Man. And that train scene alone um is beautiful. It was beautifully shot, it was beautifully done. Fuck, I was just looking at it, I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm not sure how well his joints would feel after that. Having to constantly, try to squeeze it all in to stop that train from going over. I don't, because I haven't seen The Amazing Spider-Man, so that's why I'm saying I don't think there was a scene that emulated that in in those two movies. But definitely in the first Holland film, we do see a version of that on the ship, where he's trying to stop that from splitting in half. That scene definitely is a callback to this one. I also love that there's a reference to the actual '60s Spider-Man theme song. That I caught. I was like, oh, that's what I recognize that now. Because as a kid, I probably did, and I just don't remember, or I just didn't realize it as a kid. That type of stuff would probably just go over my head as a kid. like a lot of the dialogue in this movie did as a kid. Anyway, that is going to wrap up this review. It still holds up, but I still prefer the first movie out of the two that I have rewatched. So that means I am going to be going into Spider-Man 3, and I remember liking Spider-Man 3 when I first seen it years ago. Now I probably didn't go to see it in cinema. Um, but yeah, this will be again my first time watching it in 20 years, and actually my second watch through of the movie because I think I've only ever seen it the once. But anyway, that is going to wrap this video up. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall catch you all on the very next upload, which will be Friday, which of course will be the final movie in Trilogy Month. And yeah, I'll catch you all on the next upload.